Okay, we're doing some setup here, making sure people can get to the YouTube. If you saw the original video, you may have noticed that the audio did not work, and we did not notice. So this is me coming back, doing a voiceover. Hopefully this is going to be adequate. It may not be. I'm trying some tools out for the first time, so I'm hoping that this will work. I am not certain that it is, but we're going to give it a try. So I posted out the link to a couple places. It's going to be a new link. That one was temporary live stream from Zoom. The reason why we didn't cheer out the Zoom is because we've had a Zoom bomb issue in the past, and I didn't want to have to worry about that. So upcoming is Evolve New York City. If you haven't signed up, definitely sign up. Just search Cloudera Evolve New York. I'll be there doing a talk on LLM with an interesting demo. We will have a ton of great speakers from a number of different companies, as well as some really cool special things there, plus a couple free meals. We're ending it off with an iceberg meetup with some superstars from the Iceberg Project talking. And I'm going to be there, and I'll probably find a way to sneak NiFi in there if someone turns their back real quick. But definitely come out to Evolve. It's a free event right in a nice part of New York City at the Glass House. It's going to be really cool. Definitely get your tickets as soon as you can. The other Evolves around the world have sold out. I did the Evolve in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and it was amazing. The people who came out talking about their successful open data lakehouse, AI, and streaming projects was really impressive. I'm very glad that we got to run these around the world, and New York City is going to be the big one. We got all our partners there. It's going to be Cloudera, IBM, Intel, AWS, and a couple of surprises. One, I guess, won't be a surprise. I'm going to tell you right now that the Zillas, Milvus guys are going to be there. Awesome people. Do some really cool stuff with vector databases. And I've done some work with them in the past. Really cool. If you can make it, definitely sign up. If you're not sure, still sign up. Then you can get the materials later a little easier. I'm sure a lot of that will be professionally recorded. And there'll be some giveaways and all that kind of fun stuff you expect from a professional conference there. It's gonna be pretty cool. I know it's gonna be a long day for some of us who are getting there early in the morning to set up, but definitely come out. I'm gonna pause the audio for a little bit as we wait to sync up to what's going on in the real world there, where I know there was some delays as we got pizza set up and got tables set up, and unfortunately due to security we had to bring in each person badge one at a time. Really big thanks out to our Cloudera facilities people who came from different parts of the country to come help us out at this event, as we don't have a full-time facility staff at all offices based on, us being a very remote first company. I want to thank my buddy Chris for picking up and ordering the pizza and magically choosing the right amount. That's been a worry. That was sponsored by our buddy StarTree, who do Apache Pinot, which is not a wine, unfortunately. It's already Friday, so I think this already passed, but you could still sign up for the data pipeline thing I was showing you before. And that'll be, on recording. So you could still find that link and sign up and get a recording of that. Pretty cool event with some data and streaming speakers there. I had a lot of fun. If you've come to this meetup, come to more. Sign up for my newsletter. And there's a lot of different projects that work together. I suggest you look at Flink, NiFi, Pinot, Kafka, Iceberg, Ozone, pretty cool stuff. And obviously Hugging Face is cool because it's cute. Now for LLM, we do a lot of different things with it at Cloudera. For us, with data in motion, we enable a lot of things, powered by Apache NiFi, Apache Flink, Apache Kafka. So we can capture lots of different data sources. These can be structured like CDC off a database. This can be coming out of unstructured files like Excel, JPEGs, PDF, something off a camera, all kinds of weird documents, text. And this is important now because we need that to fill the model, augment it where we need to go, whether that's going to the model, going in a prompt, or getting vectorized for a vector database like Milvus, which is one I like. Well, there's also lots of other sources of enterprise data, whether it's Snowflake and Mongo and SAP and Salesforce. We pull that in. We pull in any APIs, any live streams, anything from Kafka and Pulsar and TCP IP and JMS. Materialized views coming out of Flink SQL and coming out of NiFi and other tools. We can create those. We can make them available to Jupyter notebooks and Apache Zeppelin notebooks. We could build and resource data from open data lakehouses running on Delta, Iceberg, or Hootie. I'm using a couple models here, the Big Science Bloom model, the Facebook Meta Llama 2, 70 billion parameter chat model. Can't get much easier to say than that. I'm also using IBM Watson's couple of their Granite models, which have some really good business applications. But for doing my ask a question in Slack and get an answer, the Llama 2 is really good, though its hallucinations are a little interesting. And we had some side discussions on how to get rid of those and really using your vector database, using other tools to grab data from other systems before you hit, making a new call out there, caching existing questions, augmenting them with some local search, local database lookups, maybe a rules engine. I'll show you some slides where there's some interesting projects going on. Now, Cloudera usually works with large language models in the data preparation and data engineering. We also can host them via our Cloudera machine learning, which can build, classify, do everything you need, regardless of the project. You could be using Ray and Spark and Python, use LangChain, use Streamlit for displays, use any of the NVIDIA libraries on top of whatever GPUs and whatever cloud or on-premise you have. Obviously, TensorFlow and PyTorch, and use any of the Hugging Face libraries or REST endpoints. Obviously, NiFi, Kafka, and Flink help you be able to do the streaming classification, deploy the models real time, get that all ready. There's some really cool, interesting research happening in streaming LLM. Flare pattern, I'm not going to go into it, but definitely look that up or come to Evolve. There's some sessions on that. Obviously, everyone's heard of RAG, Retrieval Augmented, for this to save you time, money, and get better results, which is great. Kafka can be integrated with all the vector stores. NiFi integrates with Hugging Face transformers and with the vector stores as well. Current research, I highly recommend Langstream, open source, Apache licensed. A couple of my friends from the Pulsar community working on it. Really cool. I'm going to see if I can give a hand there. And I recommend anyone in the streaming space or who knows Java, JVM, and is interested in LLM, generative AI, or just machine learning, check that one out. Also, MIT is doing some streaming LLM work, so expect more out of them. Expect more out of IBM Watson X and Cloudera. Expect more coming from the vector data stores. Expect some things coming out of the Kafka and Pulsar communities. Obviously, NVIDIA has a ton of libraries out there. Figuring out the right one is probably the hardest part. And integrating with Hugging Face, whether it's their libraries or their REST calls, is just going to get better and better, as well as working with IBM Watson X REST APIs. It's a really nice way to be able to do streaming LLM. So it's definitely something to check out. I highly recommend You check back on all these technologies as well as LLM very frequently as new releases come out, new libraries, new models, new patterns. This is a very quickly evolving space as there is a large community in the open source and at a lot of different companies working on this. So keep that in mind. Now, for us Java people, certainly we can do a lot with NiFi, but when you're going to write code, there are a couple libraries that really help us out. And these are ones that are going to enhance NiFi, Kafka, Flink, and Spark, and other Java Scala-based frameworks. The Deep Java library has some ways to interface with Hugging Face's NLP models, and I'll be doing more research on that. Milvus has a Java API. LangChain for J is a nice way to apply LangChain stuff for Java. Looking at that. And Drools with GPT, combining Rules Engine with generative AI seems very interesting. Seems like a lot can happen there. Again, the Llama 2 models, you can use them with Java and REST endpoints. Remember, there's a lot of different ways to integrate. Find the one that makes sense for your project. Find where it makes sense for how you want to deploy it. Does it go in a cluster? Can it run on a small device at the edge? Can it run in a container? Can it run as part of NiFi flow? Does it need to run on its own server? Lots of things to think of. Streaming LLM is a little bit magic. Happy Halloween. My friend and former boss, Greg Phillips, is going to do an interesting talk on LLM at Evolve. And I stole one of his slides because it looked cool. But to me, is some of the things you could do that's easier and cheaper. Prompt engineering, we did a little bit of that in the demo, and you can see that in the source code. This can really be a lot. It's not just a joke. Writing the queries right, adding extra information in there can make a lot of improvements. Adding search results context to help that prompt with RAG, or doing my combination of maybe preempting that call to the model because you have the results of a context can help you out a lot as well. With streaming LLM, ingest is probably our biggest tool and asset, is to get the data from wherever it is, run our streaming everywhere, get that data from everywhere, from every cloud, on-premise, edge devices, get that into the mix, so we could use it for training, we could use it for RAG, we could use it for a lot of things. The uses of data are more and more. Why NiFi is in there so prominently is because it can work with unstructured data and 400 plus sources of data, from Salesforce to text files to images to live web cameras, all kinds of crazy stuff. Get that data in, get it cleaned up, enriched, transform, get that into either our N Lakehouse or wherever we're going to grab our assets for training and for augmentation, as well as get that into a Kafka or Pulsar stream so that can be distributed to everybody. Have something like Flink, SQL, or Spark. Build up chunks, join things together, help you make decisions, while also providing you additional data for analytics. You're not getting rid of all the things we've done before. We're just adding more data sources and more things. So maybe, being able to grab every email, every document makes a lot of sense. As part of our enrichment, again, NiFi is heavy there because it can grab all that CDC, grabs everything from tables, interacts with our different vector data stores, grab things from the edge, run edge models. We don't talk about that too much, but there's a lot of things we could push to the edge, a lot of things we could run there, make it cheaper, easier. I've got a bunch of NVIDIA GPUs at the edge. A lot of people do. Those will just get more powerful, whether that's things with audio input, video input, text input, a lot of things there. And NiFi can also run in containers and pods. So the edge may not be a device sitting in a truck. It could be just a way you can deploy something quickly, run it for a little while, and shut it down when you don't want to spend any more money. Money is going to be a little something you're going to want to optimize here so you can get good GPUs, get time in all these different models and model runtimes. NiFi and Flink can also distribute things as these materialized views to feed Jupyter notebooks, to feed Python code, to feed HTML, web apps. We could also interact easily by doing alerts to Discord and Slack and email, push things to any database, even if it has a cat in it. Not any problems here. Again, like I mentioned, NiFi deals with these weird data sources and weird data types like Word and Excel and Google Sheets and Google Drive and Dropbox and Box and, Salesforce, whatever, Mongo, TCP/IP, syslog. Being able to do this with no code, low code, super fast, scale out to thousands of nodes, really makes it an easy way to be able to enrich data and get them into these ever-increasing complex pipelines. And NiFi has the magic sauce of data provenance, lineage, so I know where my data came from, how I changed it, and what I did with it. Very important in these things. And then using NiFi to funnel me into whatever model you have there, whether it's Watson X, whether it's Hugging Face, whether it's Cloudera Machine Learning, OpenAI, Google, Azure, AWS, third parties, IBM Cloud, wherever it is, doesn't matter. Your own. There's a lot of ways to run your own models with the different model servers. Don't forget that. And that's more work's being done in ASF. Here's links to source code. There's more than this. Show you a simple example is linked here for doing Distilbert for Sentiment. Sentiment is really fast off Hugging Face. They've got a number of models I like. Watson X I've been doing a lot with, and you'll see more with them at Evolve New York City next week. It's a great way to run models over REST and get a lot of metadata. People forget about the value of metadata. NiFi lets you pull that out, make it a first-class data citizen, and use that to write your own flows, put that in a metrics data store, or make decisions right away to say, hey, this took too many tokens, this costs too much money to use this particular model on this particular service. Let me try a different version of the model. Instead of the 70 billion parameter, maybe the 7 billion. Maybe I'll use Hugging Face instead. Maybe I'll use CML. Maybe I'll use a cache. Every time I ask a question, cache it. Maybe even cache the full question in NiFi or in Kafka in a data store. I can put an Iceberg, Kudu, HBase, whatever. Put that somewhere else. Distribute it. Deploy it. Having tools to let you deploy the models either to the edge, like I said, we could have NVIDIA Jetson or other proprietary TPUs, GPUs. There's fancy hardware going to make this easier, or into Kubernetes or Docker. Important part, we want to be in production. We want to put generative AI along with the rest of our data assets and software and machinery everywhere it makes sense, bring it up and down in the way that makes it most valuable, most respondent, and affordable. I mean, this stuff is not cheap. We'll deploy it wherever you need to. Again, this is documented. We tend to deploy things where it makes the most sense. But definitely some more research and work needs to be done here. It's not quite as popular segment of where you put these models. Again, you may not have a choice based on regulations, cost, where you have GPUs, where your network barrier points are. Obviously, for certain government and military ones, there might be very specific reasons why you can't. Probably going to be a break here as we are finally got our pizza. And we got our 6 original pizzas arrived. Thank you, Grubhub and Chris and Facilities for bringing that up and us having a table space for people to enjoy our New York pizza. When you look through the meetup GitHub, I'm going to post my Slack results, and you'll see the demo after pizza time. And I'll put a break there. I don't know if I'll add some music in the middle because there's going to be a quiet part coming. That one's legit where everyone's out of the room and we kept the Zoom running. Probably should have stopped the Zoom and done a new one, and then maybe we would have checked the audio. But lessons learned here. Again, needed some more people to help out with the meetup. Hopefully, the next one in Princeton, I'll have some local people. And I know the one running in Evolve, we've got a lot of people there. I'm sure I'll have some of our meetup people and marketing people and a whole AV team. So I'm not worried about the iceberg meetup in Evolve, New York. But when it's just me running these by myself or maybe with one other person, it's a little tougher when you're doing the in person and trying to record live. So we'll try to do a better case on that. Store, obviously we store the results wherever they need to go. Sometimes it's everywhere, and this could be very problematic. I mean, I got to store to Postgres and to MySQL and to the vector store and to Solar and to Snowflake and DB2 and Kudu and Iceberg and S3 and different data stores. But with NiFi, Flink, and Kafka, really easy to do all these simultaneously. I think something that's going to be important is to correlate these sources and keep them in sync. So having something like NiFi be the one that stores everything and then retrieves it. NiFi has all this metadata it can access. So you can have one ID that connects a document vectorized in Milvus, the table it's related to in Postgres, its wide metadata in Kudu, an entire open lake version of 15 related things in Iceberg. Have that correlation so we can pull them all out together using lots of different tools. Can do these federated queries, keep things in sync. We don't want data silos. We want to be able to use all the different data together, whether it's structured, unstructured, semi-structured, it's been vectorized, it's been broken up, it's been tokenized. Like a lot of the side work to augment this can be done with standard NLP, just breaking things up into tokens and word groups, pull out all the cities, pull out all the states and money. A lot of that can be done with OpenNLP. We showed you some of this before. I think I've got some more links to other models. Lots of examples out there. Hopefully not blinding you with too many links. But I'll take a break here again while people come in and out for pizza. And people liked all the different pizzas because it's New York. I'm going through a lot of these. These slides will be shown in Evolve. So I had some extra ones. Everyone knew LLM. We're going to do the demo again after the pizza break, and I'm going to see maybe I can edit some of that out of the video. If I did, that'll be great. If I didn't, sorry. I'm trying to figure that out here. I'll do the best that I can, but easier said than done. Coming back later, still a little tired from the meetup. Maybe I'll do another run of this at a future one if this doesn't work out great for people. Definitely vote in the comments if this should be another round. Again, I could do another one live if people are very interested. We had a pretty lively discussions with people. So if people are interested, definitely let me know. I can re-go through this content, and we could do a web only so we make sure it works. Maybe we could do it on something like Twitch. I don't know. Something where you could ask a lot of questions and I don't have to worry about being Zoom bombed. So that might be a thing. If you like it on Twitch or on LinkedIn, just let me know. Again, post it in the comments or hit me up on LinkedIn or Twitter. I'm not calling it X. Or any other media through GitHub. You can you put in a thing on the GitHub repo for the meetup if you want. Okay, I'm gonna think I have a pretty long pizza break. I'm gonna try to figure out if I could figure out how far in that is. Hi, Tim Spann here. So we're going to be running a demo here. We've gone through a couple of bits of this. First demo is going to be travel advisory, and that is grabbing RSS feed from the government, parsing that out and sending it to an IBM model. And then once that's complete, I process this, I send alerts out, I send an updated results from that Watson model to a DB2 database, send it into Kafka, have a Flink SQL produce a materialized view, and that could be used by a Jupyter Notebook, HTML page, or whatever. But it's a fun little thing there. Now I'm just checking to make sure all of my servers are running because it's been a little while since the pizza party. And now that the pizza's done, sorry we can't have virtual pizza for you. I'm testing my Slack here. And as you can see, I've asked a couple of questions over the day, and I'm going to try to see if I can pull all of those out and put that in the meetup GitHub just to give you an idea of the results that we were getting. These are the results of me calling NiFi, pulling the question out of Slack from the events, cleaning it up, sending it to Watson X, which is a REST hosted version of the Llama 2 70 billion parameter model. I send this prompt with a little cleanup and some suggestions around it. Again, the old fun prompt engineering. And getting these results back after I clean them up. This one's pretty cool. It tells me how to use NiFi and Pinot together. Again, I've got a ton of these, and we'll go through a bunch in the demo. And we had fun in the meetup. Like I said, maybe we'll do another version of this so you guys can ask your questions. It depends on how many hours running the day, and certain parts of the day, sometimes the queries don't get back good answers. Again, it's really got to make sure I put in some augmentation and caching and some of my own personal checks there, making sure everything's running, refreshing things. As you can see, I asked a question in Slack. We go to NiFi. We could see that the Slack server has already pushed that event to my HTTP listener. NiFi can act as a web server, which is pretty awesome. Obviously, I could have used another web server I cleaned up and sent somewhere, but NiFi could do this really easily. And I'm making sure that the questions come in are from that general Slack group because I don't want it from all of mine. Again, this is a personal decision. I find I send a lot of automated data to my other channels, and that could be doing a lot of extra calls. And then I'm just going to format it in the way that I want to be able to send it to my model. Get that as just JSON of inputs. Again, that's a standard format for Hugging Face, but standard I've been using and cleaning that up to whatever prompt needs to be sent to where it's going. For Watson X, it's a little different. I used a query record to make sure that I'm not letting any answers or garbage through. So here, using NiFi, powered by Apache Calcite, make sure there's a question there. And to me, I format my questions with the word question, question colon, or Q colon. That's just my syntax. You pick whatever makes sense for you. I mean, it's, up to you. You could do a lot in here. And then I just clean it up. As you can see here, I'm telling you what service I'm calling and what model. I tried two different models, both pretty good, but Llama 2 70 billion parameter chat one is pretty good for these lighthearted conversation chats. There's a couple of times it hallucinates really interesting. One of them is really beneficial to me, but well, I'll show you that in this, and like I said, I'll paste all that into the meetup GitHub. So we split it up, clean it up. Part of that enrichment, routing, transformation that we do, pretty easy in NiFi, and I'll give you this flow. And as everything else, all of the major players out there, Watson, OpenAI, Cloudera, Hugging Face, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they all have security, which you better have. So security for Watson, I have a special key. Got to use that key to get a one-time token. Got to parse out my token, and with this token, I'm allowed to make a call to the model. So I get my token out, again, auto-magically, and I'm using that to call Watson model. And I can look through the provenance and see how many times I've run it. But I should probably show you the prompt that I've built. And what's nice here is I'm going to take the file we have now and replace it auto-magically with my prompt, which for Watson is JSON. Be nice if there was a global standard for calling generative AI models. They all differ a little bit, but this is the format for Watson X. Input is my question that I've cleaned up and are encoded. Got the model I'm calling. Couple of parameters to say how many tokens to use, how to decode it. These ones seem to be the best. Again, part of that tweaking thing is prompt engineering. Based on results, we could change this on the fly for every call. Then I make my call to my REST endpoint. Very easy to call any kind of REST service from NiFi, whether it's post, get, or any of the standard methods. Get my results back, which is generated text, and clean it up, add some metadata to it, add a couple of extra attributes, and I do a couple of things here with the results of the generative AI. Now, I could send it to Kafka, I could put it in a data store, lots of things you could do. I like to take the results and post them. This one was surprising me that it thought that New York City pizza is not better than LLM. But I also like to post the metadata that NiFi pulled out. This is good for debugging all of my calls. Again, especially when these things could cost money, this tells me how many tokens, how long it took, what model I called, what service I called, what prompt I sent, what was the result. Lots of metadata that I could put in a database or use maybe against another model to figure out, is this the optimum way to answer a question? So that could be part of my prompt flow in NiFi, is to figure out what model should I use? What service should I use? Can I pull something out of a cache? Do I need RAG? Do I need to do something else? Lots of options there. Maybe use that Jules GPT, maybe some kind of rules engine. Pretty easy. Within generals, where I ask my question and get my answer, I thought this was pretty cool, the result they did. And it's debatable. People really like that pizza. I actually started the demo before that. Here is a more straightforward question. Really, probably should just do a REST call to Wiki or to another service. Or, this might be something where maybe I ask a question about something that your company has. Maybe you should pull that out of your database. I'm going to format the answer of that result and push that back to Slack. And you'll see that show up. We could see we already got the result here. There's a little junk in there. I got to do some more cleanup and transformation and enrichment, but gave me the result. It's nice that they listed the source there. Again, that's probably what I should have done first. Now this one, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was time of day or I called something too many times. Answer got real weird there. And I put a thing in there, Tim runs dumb stuff, to show you that I'm not looking at things that don't have that Q in front of it. And I'm not sure what happened with that one. We tried a couple other questions. Again, another reason why you might want to have a cache or run something against your own data store first. Again, maybe look for keywords for things that are known, capitals. Again, this is maybe where we do the open NLP to parse the data out to get cities, states, money, entities, and then have that look up to things, vectorize things. This is my favorite one, guys. This one's awesome. I made up a country because someone said, well, what happens if you ask for something from that's made up? So I made up Timistan, and this version of llama gave me results. Now, people ask this in a Twitter against ChatGPT, and it says there's no such country. So for right now, I have a country of 10 million people with our own language, our own dollar. Unfortunately, the whole year it's really hot and humid. Not my favorite. Not the best place to be doing mining when it's hot and humid, but we do have a museum, so that's something. This is kind of a short-lived country. I guess me and Tim Vale live there. Maybe the other Tims from around the data world can set up there. I gave him a nice softball question here, and I've asked this before. Probably should have picked that one out of a cache, like I mentioned before. Probably don't ask questions you can easily get the answer for. Again, I do like for my travel advisory demo, we're doing summarization, not something as easy as looking up a known value, but Again, Timistan is pretty fun. I should have asked for Timsylvania. Maybe that's a better one. Maybe that's somewhere in a mountain somewhere. Maybe a little better weather. Don't know. Still thinking about that one. Again, nice when it gives you nice results. I'll scroll through these. I've been running these for a couple of weeks, so I have a lot of weird question and answers. Couple good hallucinations, but usually halfway decent results. I'm kind of impressed. And this is without any augmentation in there or caching, which again, that I should do that for the next big talk I'm doing. I have an LLM talk at Evolve New York City in early November. Definitely check that out if you didn't get this video too late to know about that, which could have happened. But yeah, so it's nice when the results work. Again, all I needed here is NiFi, Slack, and Watson X and that llama model. In some versions of this, I send it to Kafka to distribute between clusters so that I can have my NiFi that's open to receive pushes from Slack server in a different secure area for who might be calling models. Again, how you lay this out is a part of the distribution and streaming that makes things easy. But depends on what you're doing here. If you have any questions on this, definitely put them in the comments, put them in the GitHub. Let me know. Again, this was the part that was interesting. We just asked that question, and instead of doing cache or giving me something, it gave back garbage. And I probably should check that. But what do you check? Sometimes the garbage is almost real. So I got to figure that one out. Maybe try to find some standards for that. Maybe send the results to a very simple model that tells me if it's junk or not. And then maybe I'll pause and run it again until I get something better. Again, with expenses, got to think about that. But maybe just pull it out of cache, pull it out of a local data store, do some RAG on it, change the prompt, change the model, change who I'm calling. Maybe Hugging Face is busy, try Watson. I could change all these on the fly with NiFi based on whatever criteria. Again, that criteria can change based on this metadata, how many tokens this took, how many tokens something else took. There's a lot there. I did a nice one on how do IBM and Cloudera collaborate on data flow, and it's a pretty good results there. Again, if you see the other Cloudera LLM models, we'll use that retrieval augmentation to pull stuff out of our own docs. But, again, trying to figure out when to call a model, when to use a cache, when to do something else is right now a little art, a little science, and a little guesstimation. So we'll have to work on that. If you're interested in running this on your own, there'll be people from IBM at Evolve that could probably get you a trial of Watson X. Again, you could also try, there's a couple of similar models on Hugging Face and you may be able to run some of this in the free tier or the low cost tier. Again, it depends on the model, number of parameters, if they have it in their hosted REST API. I've got some of that in the various GitHub, so you could check those out. Again, if you have any questions on this, definitely reach out. If you're interested in starting a Timistan in maybe a better climate, definitely reach out there. I will definitely provide you some. We'll auto generate some crazy facts about our country. Maybe if someone comes up with a cool flag, I think it probably needs to have a cat on it. Maybe some pizza and bacon. We'll have to see there. Oh, if you see the name ChatGPT, that is the name of my app, because I originally, in my mind, connected all generative AI and all language models with ChatGPT, and I thought I'd be using OpenAI to power all this. I didn't, but I already created that Slack app with that name, and unfortunately too lazy to change it. I guess I probably can change the bot name for the app in Slack. I'll have to take a look at that, because it is a little confusing. This is just my Slack group. This is not OpenAI or any other tool there. So maybe I'll call it Chat Tim Chat. I don't know. Maybe give me a suggestion there. I could probably change it in Slack. I hope so. I don't know. Again, I haven't tried. I got to take a look. I mean, they give you a lot of ability within the Slack editing API. It's pretty good system there. I think we're probably towards the end of the demo. Again, I was running a little later than I should have. We were starting to get late in the day, but oh yeah, I got to remember that it doesn't always know what LLM is. Again, part of your prompt is writing these questions smart, and I don't always do that. This got LLM wrong. Maybe I should have explicitly written out large language model or generative AI, because on some of these attempts, it knew what I was talking about. Others, it didn't. Again, augmenting and enriching your own data before you do these expensive calls is probably pretty smart. And we'll do that for the future one. I'm seeing more places to optimize as we go through these demos. And the more times I see them, I'm thinking 2024, we'll have this far superior. And we will not create new countries on the fly, though not the worst thing to do. Maybe we can connect to one of those ones and build some pictures of it, see if they come up with a good flag for us. See here, I thought LLM was master of laws. So that result, while a good amount of text, seems wrong. But I think stickers are better than master of laws. See, this is where I'm like, oh, it doesn't always know what LLM. I thought this result coming up, why is generative AI so bad after they gave me some junk, which is my own fault for complaining about it. But as you can see, it's come through the system. We already got the prompt. I can refresh. Again, it's a question. I made sure I formatted it correctly. I didn't forget on this one. Again, what's nice with NiFi and Calcite, full queries against this flow of events coming through NiFi. And again, events can be one at a time. They can happen on demand. I could pull. They could be pushed. They can also be scheduled. NiFi has the ability to run tasks on a schedule if you need to do that. If your stuff is a little more batchy or micro batchy, whatever your data looks like, wherever it's coming from, we can handle you. What's nice is when you see all these connections between each step, all of these are configurable load balance queues. So if something stops while things are running, you don't lose data. Automatic back pressure to stop things once our queues start to get full. We also have some ML on these queues so they can auto resize if need be, if that's something you'd want. Or you could do that mathematically if things need to increase over time. Again, you got to have space to store this stuff, so You don't want to have infinite storage of all this data that's coming through your system, because this and the metadata can be massive. So most of these, it's SSL, very easy to use SSL and NiFi. Again, looking at the prompt, one we saw before, you can tweak some of these, again, part of the prompt engineering. And with NiFi, I can change all this on the fly. So I could change the prompts any way I want, put in different input, change the model, tweak parameters on decoding methods, how many tokens, all that kind of fun stuff. Call our model, get our results back, clean them up, add some metadata at a timestamp, unique ID. Again, I want to be able to trace these things, and push it to Slack. I take out the word answer. Watson adds answer in there. I don't see why you want to see that there. Comes right after the question. And this one's pretty good, where they talk about why generative AI can be bad, and they put it in quotes. And those are legit problems. I mean, there is definitely some diversity issues in the training data and how they trained a lot of these models. So it is worrisome. Filtering out curses and a lot of other potential bad results is smart. There's a couple of REST endpoints out there that'll help you filter out curse words and such. And you're probably set up your own list to remove unwanted or offensive words is probably a good idea. And using the proper pronouns within there is another thing to check out. Again, there's so many layers you have to think about. Once you get into production, that's when you start adding these. These are some of the things you can get in the Cloudera machine learning to make it a little easier. But again, when you're architecting these apps, start thinking about those things. Here you can see the output here. Again, important things are these IDs let me trace it back. So if someone said, hey, who ran this model and spending my money? I have the results. I know it was me and it wasn't somebody hacked in or something got automated in the wrong way. I knew how many tokens I took. I knew why my code stopped based on number of tokens. As you can see, it was in the middle of doing number 4. I could have taken that and passed that on so we could have that continuing discussion. I got to think about this. There is a limit to how much I could push through the REST endpoint. Some of it may have to go somewhere else. Again, this is a growing and evolving thing. And this is a demo I literally wrote in a couple of days. So there's a lot of things I'm going to augment and add to the future. And again, any suggestions or assistance is greatly appreciated. And maybe you can speak at the next one. That would be pretty cool. Now we're getting close to the end of the demo here. I'm going to hope that I can get Tim from Pinot to add his talk over to his talk. Unfortunately, seems the audio didn't work for him either. And I'm not going to do his audio talk over because that would be pretty funny because I don't remember all of what he said. And I'm not an expert on Pinot. I like Pinot, though. It's pretty cool. I've done a couple of demos connecting Pinot and Kafka and Pulsar. Pretty cool thing here. This is my very fast attempt to show a little bit of the second demo where we're grabbing those travel advisories I mentioned. This is a different model that does summaries. This is one of IBM's Granite models, which does summaries really well. And again, really well. Some of these travel advisories have a lot of boilerplate in them, which maybe we filter those out. Again, something to think of based on what your data is, what results you want, what you're doing with them. So again, same thing, log in, make the call, clean up the data, add some extra metadata. In this one, push the results to Kafka, but also update a DB2 database with a new field for doing the summary. Again, augmenting your existing data with the results of generative AI. Pretty cool. Again, keeping things in sync so I have that advisor ID in multiple places. So if I need to rerun things, repopulate them, I know how to get there. I know where it is, how to do updates. Again, just like in the other place, I put all my results of calls to generative AI REST points in Slack. Maybe I put them in a database or in a file. I don't know. If someone has a free large data store you want me to put them in, I'll do that. Maybe I should push them to Solar. I don't know. Maybe Iceberg, Kudu, HBase, Mongo. I don't know. Lots of options. It's just data. Can go anywhere. And it could be, I could just turn it into a document. I also send out a mail, and I got to remember to put an email in the GitHub to show you what that looks like. Again, very easy to send email from NiFi or send to Discord or Slack. Obviously, you see me interacting with Slack pretty easily. It is a fun way to do things. We can also push images there. I've got that in another talk. Again, that's a different type of AI and different type of model. But you could take a look at that at some other point. I think just about to wrap it up here. Thank you for attending my talk. Sorry that you might have joined and had complete silence. Maybe you put on some music and the meetup was a lot more interesting. We'll think about that for the future. Thanks a lot, and hope you come out to a future one. And next time, we'll make sure the audio works the whole time. We don't have to dub it in later. Thanks a lot.